everybody, my name is Matt Addington. Welcome back to Thousand Words Show, and honestly just an opportunity to get some more content out on my YouTube channel. Not only joining other photographers to hear about adventures around the world and to hear stories behind the photos that you see, but also just some of my adventures and things that I've done. I like to have an opportunity to share about them. I get asked about them a lot. And what are you doing? Where have you been? Where are you going next? What did you see? What did you do? All of those things. I love to be able to share those, because ultimately at the end, you've got a produced video, or you've got a series of photos, or even sometimes a single photo that gets shared. And I've honestly been always intrigued with, not only the beauty of one single frame, but all of the things that led up to that. So this is one more opportunity with that. Recently, within the last couple weeks, I spent a week up in Katmai in Alaska, and I had a video that came out. I actually had a YouTube video that I put out quickly thereafter, because the short little video that went onto Facebook and Instagram and a couple, all the social media places, went viral a lot quicker than what I thought it would. And it was obviously 15 seconds of pretty intense moments with the coastal brown bear that walked right up to me. And many of you that are probably watching this saw that video in some fashion. The previous YouTube video that I put out kind of explained a little bit of all that led up to, that dramatic 15 seconds, which again looks very dramatic. It was very peaceful. It was very surreal. The tens of thousands of comments are, about how heart pounding and how, nervous I must have been, and how could you do this? And lots of back and forth, which I won't get into here, but it was a real surreal experience. And I think I wanted to tell a little bit more of that story. In fact, a little bit more of what happened right afterwards. We had flown in from Kodiak Island, flew across about 100 miles west to the Alaskan Peninsula into Hallow Bay with Scott and Jackie Stone, who are incredible with what they do in providing these experiences.
Female, and you just have a really gorgeous Katmai setting right in front of the glacier, and we get to watch the little action here. We go weeks without even seeing them do it. There you go. And then all of a sudden you'll get one set that gives you the world. This is pretty dang nice.
But you've got this mama coastal brown bear. She comes in with 3 cubs, and obviously what happened. It was really, really cool. Didn't kind of dawn on me until after they turned to walk away what I just had at my feet, a 900-pound sow grizzly with her 3 cubs, and all of the would-be intensity with that. It was again just very peaceful. But I think the thing that is probably most amazing that happened was in the moments after, and a couple different times throughout the rest of the trip. We stood up and turned around, and obviously the setting is snow-capped mountains and glacier and ocean and all of these crazy, incredible things in God's creation that are around you that you kind of take for granted while you're there. The bears walked away. We stood up. It was just kind of that moment of, I can't believe that just happened. But turning around, you could hear a little peeping, this little tiny sound. And ultimately what was there was a sandpiper, which is a shorebird, probably, a little bit larger than the size of your fist, 4, 5, 6 inches, maybe not even that big. And we could see this sandpiper, and she was just really making a racket at us. And upon further investigation, getting just a little bit closer, because she didn't fly away, she had 3 babies with her, which the incredible juxtaposition of what just happened with a 900-pound coastal brown bear, apex predator, one of the most, could be feared, could be menacing. You know, they get a bad rap for all of the bad things that bears do sometimes, was right there in front of me. And then to turn around and see an animal a bird that small with her 3 little babies. And these babies were about the size of a quarter. They were just tiny. Um, I read up a little bit about sandpipers. They typically have 3 or 4 eggs that incubate for 20 to 25 days, and they hatch right there in the middle of July typically. So these sandpipers were pretty brand new. They when they hatch from the eggs, their eyes are open. They've got furry feathers. They don't fly, but they get up and move around with mama right away. And these 3 were scurrying around on the tundra, following mom around. She was again letting us know that, she was there and her babies were there. And then all 3 babies went up and tucked in underneath her wings, and she kept them protected underneath for a couple minutes, again, knowing that we were, potentially a threat. Obviously, we weren't there to do any harm, but she didn't know that. But to see that motherly instinct with the mama brown bear who had year-old cubs, and to watch their personalities, and she had to kind of honestly be mom with them some. One of the males was kind of always trying to run off and, do his own thing, and she'd have to kind of reel him back in, and you could almost just see that he was the one that was probably a little bit of a discipline issue, and she had a female that was, kind of had the motherly genes, but then to watch this mama sandpiper, in such a protective motherly way, take her babies in and let us know, and at the same time curious of what we were doing, but not afraid to fly away and abandon her babies. It reminded me of just all of the immense, amazing things in creation. On my website, I've got Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. In a way of just observing how big and how amazing. But then I think about, verses like Matthew 10:30, where it says, God tells us that he even knows the number of the hairs on each of our heads. So he's got attention to all the smallest little details as well. So this was just a beautiful juxtaposition of those 2 things happening in such extreme measures, literally right at my feet in an incredible place. Again, I talk about how blessed I've been to go and see amazing things all over the world. And yes, the bears at my feet was one of the amazing things, but then to stand up, turn around and see these tiny little chicks, these 3 chicks that were babies of a smaller creature created in the same image that, a 900-pound sow grizzly was, and just how, God is so good to be able to, allow us to see and experience both of those things, and ultimately recognize his glory through amazing places, amazing experiences like that. So just one quick story from what will be a lot of stories over the course of time from an amazing trip to